Well, it's been a while, so I figured I would start first episode back with an introduction that I've never done before. So welcome to the Baxter Strength Systems podcast. I am Nathan Baxter, strength wizard, powerlifter, whatever other titles you want to add to that. So as always, we've got a fairly free-ranging conversation. This podcast is just about having honest, open conversations about topics that I care about. This particular topic is to do with imposter syndrome. That's how we got started. My friend Rachel is coming with us to Norway in May for the World Bench Press Championships. It's her first time out. This is some of the stuff that I think almost every athlete goes through. I love the conversation we had. I've loved the openness, the raw honesty, and the willingness to try things and explore different topics. So if you've ever dealt with imposter syndrome at any point in your life, or wondering what it is, or how to do something about it, or even if it's just to listen to a really frank, honest conversation, I hope you enjoy this chat that I had with Rachel Elms. Interesting is happening. That's how we got it. So one of the things that I was thinking about was with you starting out and me doing my stuff. I'm notoriously bad for telling people what I do. It's just I think it's a symptom of my generation, perhaps. And so recently, my friend put me onto this group called Marketing for Hippies. And it is the cleanest marketing I've seen for anybody, particularly for people that are service-based, like us. So we don't have a product. We can't go, hey, buy my widget. I've got what is it? I've got a need. Everybody needs a need. But I don't have one. I deliver services. So how do we promote ourselves without coming across douchey or unethical or doing a lot of the things that you and I have both seen on Instagram and social media, and just going, no way, that's horrible. Can't be doing that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I thought this gives, if we just have a chat, this gives people a bit of a chance to see a little bit of the work that I do, just like a really snippet. And because I'm coming from such a weird background with my experience, nobody can quite place what I do. So hopefully, if we get some good results and we have a chat, people will have a bit better idea of what we both do and the type of people that we work with.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Cool. So let's start with you, Rachel. How about you? I'm Rachel Elms, and I do powerlifting because ...
I started, I guess it was just like I was in the gym. I never really was any good at sports, but like I just enjoyed training. And I started just like in a female weights only section that was really small. And then when that closed, I was like, oh no, like, what am I going to do? Like, that was my comfort place. So I went out into the big scary part of the gym with all the free weights and got in there, and I realized I was actually quite strong, and I liked how I felt when I was strong. So I wanted to continue, I guess, pursuing that, and I guess just being the best and the strongest version of myself. Yeah, I will admit it's not purely just me versus me. Like, there is a lot of competitiveness in my nature.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I do also try and do well, but it's kind of balancing those two that I'm struggling with, is, wanting to be the best for myself and to be strong and like enjoy the sport, and balancing that with wanting to be competitive and comparing myself to others, and all the high expectations that come with that.
It's a really tricky little minefield in there, isn't
Yeah.
it? There's a few different directions we can go with that. And given what I've been thinking about the last few days, I'm really interested to see which one of those you think is most you, and which of the ideas that you've picked up from people around you or society in general or whatever, that we're meant to say a lot that it's, I'm just doing it for myself. Like, how much do you believe that, percentage-wise?
It's tough. Like, I think when it's going well and you feel good about yourself. But when it feels bad, I think that's when the comparison starts to come creeping
Yeah,
in.
right.
Yeah.
I think I give you my personal point of view on that one is I think the comparisons creep in because it's never been about us against us.
Mm.
Never has been. We've always compared ourselves to anyone. I think about, and I don't want to put this on you, but I want to see if you resonate with any parts of this at all. My strength journey was because I compared myself, but it was who I compared myself to was probably more interesting. I often compared myself to comical characters. So I grew up. I was a kid of the 80s and 90s. I actually read the Marvel comics, and so I liked characters like the Hulk and the Thing because they were super strong and they could do crazy stuff. I also grew up in the suburbs in Sydney, and I loved rugby league, and I was drawn to the biggest, strongest, toughest guy on the field. So for me, the attraction to strength sports was because I compared myself to those guys or those characters and I wasn't it. So then and still probably the attraction today is there's still that little kid drive in there. They go, I want to be more like a superhero. I want to look like a comic book character. I don't want to be so much where I am right now. And so there's
Yeah.
always that tension of going, well, who do I want to compare myself to? And the comparisons get really, really interesting fast.
Yeah, no, I definitely resonate with that a lot. And when I first kind of ventured out to that free weight section, I had a couple of training partners that I trained with, and they were both men and they were older than me. So obviously, like, they were lifting a lot more. And I actually remember it came up as a highlight on my Instagram. I think it was like 5 years ago. And I was training with, like, I think we were doing deadlifts, and I had like 100 kilos on the bar. And then, like, they do their set after, and they had like 180 kilos on the bar. And like, I took a photo with that weight that they were lifting, and I said, like, one day I'll lift this. And like, to be honest, I didn't believe it. But like, I look back now, and that's, I open on more than that. But like, I'd kind of forgotten, I guess, the comparison side of things. Like, yeah, I was kind of more focused on my own numbers. I think I compare myself a lot to myself, and that's something I'm struggling with at the moment. Is I'm comparing where I'm at now with where I've been, where I felt I've been stronger. So as you know, I went down a weight class for my last competition, and my bench took a big hit. Which, yeah, with bench worlds coming up, like, that's, yeah, a high pressure situation to be in. And I guess I'm comparing back to when I was injured. And yeah, I couldn't train squats or deadlifts. So obviously, like, it was just bench, bench, bench. And I ended up benching 90 kilos, and it was like, not a problem. I could do that, most days of the week. If, training was going well, I could bench 90. And now, like, at that last meet, I benched 80, and yeah, I'm struggling with that kind of comparison. It's more, there is still that element of comparison, but it's more just like against myself, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
it
Yeah.
does. And I think that's where we start getting really. Yeah, that's the dice. I think that's the dicey territory, because there's never a comparison we do to ourselves. Or, sorry, I shouldn't say never. All right. Very rarely the comparison that we do to ourselves is a positive comparison. There's lots and lots of ways of like hijacking that. And I know we spoke briefly over the weekend about that Instagram live that I did about the spiral. And especially when you like going out hiking and if you've ever hiked up a really long hill, the kind of one that takes about an hour to get up, get halfway up and just look back down the trail for a little while and see how much better you feel. And you go, well, okay, am I looking at that now as a sense of achievement, or am I looking at where I've been? What we tend to do is frame it as an achievement. Go, oh, look at me, I've come so far. And go, if we're thinking that way, then we're just setting up the same cycle of comparison, because we're looking for that external validation again. Rather than looking at the path and going, wow, that's a really interesting path I've taken to get to where I am here. And that path might have you benching 90 or 100 and then 80 and then 95 and then maybe back to 85. But when you look around and go, wow, that's a really interesting path, rather than I'm in the wrong spot.
Mm. Yeah. It's hard to kind of like frame my mind that way. And I try and look at it, I guess. I feel like I struggle with two different minds, if that makes sense. Like I have my logical
Totally.
brain that understands things, and like I know that those thoughts are more accurate, and I understand those things. Like I understand that my strength isn't going to be linear, and I
Hmm.
understand like all those things that people say. I'm like, yes, I understand that. That makes sense. But then I guess
Okay,
I
let's
have
let's.
this.
I'm gonna start. I'm gonna
Yeah,
hold you up right there because of the linear part. Let's because that's what everyone says. We all know it's not
yeah,
linear.
yeah.
They go, okay, what's your understanding of that? Because we never really. I've noticed that we never really talk about it. You go,
Mm,
what does non-linear actually look like? What does it sound like? What does it feel like? What emotions go with that journey? And so I reckon let's talk about that for a second because you're fresh
yeah.
in it, and I think the insights that you can give will help a lot of young women and young athletes in your position to go, oh, okay, so this is what it's meant to be like right now.
Mm. Yeah, well, for me, it's like I guess obviously we want to PR every meet, every lift. We want to always see progression. And if we went up 5 kilos on our bench one meet, then the next meet we kind of almost expect to go up 5 kilos the next meet, or at
Right?
least
Yeah.
maintain. Like we see, I guess, if we don't hit the same number, we see that as going backwards. Or if we see even if we just maintain that same lift, I feel like a lot of people, myself included, I'll see that as going backwards because,
Hmm.
like, or if you don't hit the number that you hit in training on the platform, that happened to me. My last heavy bench was 82.5, and then on the platform, I only got 80. And I was like, well, then I've gone backwards. And that's kind of, I guess, what I mean by like progress isn't linear. Like that's it's still progress. It's just it's not
Mm.
going to always be going up. There's going to be times where it might go down a little bit and then it'll go back up eventually. But if we look long term at the, I guess, general progression, like comparing myself to when I first started, like 60 kilos was a massive feat. So I guess that progression in general, like it is getting, I am improving, but it's just there's been times where I've gone up and then I've gone back down again. And at the moment, I'm in kind of like a phase where I've actually like gone back down again. So yeah.
I think we could probably divide the people listening to this now into three distinct groups. There's going to be a group that haven't got to where you are yet. They go, that's never going to happen to me. I've got a great coach. I know programming. I know myself. That's never going to happen to me. I love those people because it's an exciting car crash when
Yeah.
they run into that wall. You're like, you have to make this mistake eventually. Have at it. And if you've got that, if you're listening to this and you've got that confidence, you go, that's never going to happen to me. I'm going to go hard. Keep that for as long as you can. Like run with it. Like know that eventually you'll run into a brick wall with that attitude. But while you've still got it, just make gains out of that attitude. I think it's a great mindset to cultivate until you can no longer keep it. That's group one. Group three is going to be people kind of my age and up that just go, yeah, you'll get used to this. This is what it feels like. But then there's the vast majority of people who are in it right now, experiencing this kind of. I described it as a spiral. It's like your third or fourth loop on the spiral, and you don't know how many loops there's going to be until you get to a position where you go, oh, I kind of like this part of the journey. It's
Mm.
this one where you can go so quickly to, I love this, everything's great. And then 3 workouts later, it's like, what the hell is going on? Can I even do this? Do I even like this? This is shit. I'm out of here.
Yep. I've heard myself say those things a few times. Yeah.
How how many more times do you think you'll say that to yourself in the future? At a guess.
Oh, like most sessions, like, but I always try and like when I have that kind of thought, I try and I guess counteract that thought with a positive or like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, if I ask myself, often it's like, why am I doing this? And then I'll actually like think, like, obviously that's a rhetorical question, but I'll try and actually think of the answer, like, well, why am I doing this? and I'll
That
try and answer it. And like in
and
answering
what's the
that,
answer?
I guess because I want to see where it goes. And like it sucks. It feels awful because you don't know where it goes. And like that's what's so hard about it when you're in that spiral. It's like you don't know what's happening next. You don't know, like, you know, is it going to continue to feel like this? Is it going to get better? When's it going to get better? You don't know all that. And I guess I like to know the ending. So I want to
Mhm.
see, like, you know, how is it going to come out? Like, what am I going to learn from this? Um, but yeah, like when you're in it, it sucks. But I find once I'm out of it, that's a really good opportunity to like kind of look back and be like, well, what did I learn from all that? And, you know,
Yep.
yeah, try and actually, I don't know, get some strategies so that the next spiral, because I know that like this isn't my first spiral either. Like this
Mhm.
has happened before. This is, yeah, it's a regular thing. But yeah, like try and get some strategies to so that next time, I don't know, you have something to handle it better, I guess.
Mhm. I I really like the way what you said about you ask yourself, why am I doing this? And then you answer it. That I think is and I know this is going to it sounds like I'm getting into a lecture on stoicism, and I might be. I might rant about stoicism for a little bit. But I think there's some concepts within stoicism that you go, well, yeah, it's worth answering. Why do I do this? That's a good question.
Mm,
That deserves an answer, and to find a regular answer to that is really how we keep going. The other part of it is to embrace each and every moment and go, well, yeah, this sucks, and go, yep, totally does, absolutely sucks. I think you said the other day, I feel like I've got imposter syndrome. I feel like I'm a bit of an imposter, and I go, well,
yep.
yeah, you should be.
Yeah.
Like, it's your first world. You're meant to feel that way. At the moment, you're not a known person. You're not like, we look to the group that we want to be in, and we all want to be in that group that goes to Worlds each year. And you go, well, you're not in that group yet. You should
Yeah.
feel this way. It should feel alien. And that's like, oh dear, that doesn't feel good. And it's not meant to feel good. But we're also not meant to live there and dwell on that. It's like, well, okay, at the moment, like today, I haven't been there, but that's where I'm going. And
Mm,
it will be. And it will be different once I'm different. But for now, the imposter syndrome is like, well, yeah, stands to reason.
yeah.
Probably should. And then also with that, the other thought I had with the imposter syndrome, and we will tread carefully here because we don't want to turn this into psychology or internet radio psychology. The stuff around imposter syndrome and so it's all to do with internal versus external validation, and particularly how you were externally validated as a child, which poses huge problems for every single Australian kid born between now and 100 years ago,
Yeah.
because we are so bad at giving people credit for what they've done well. Like, if we ever, for the most part, Australian culture says if we achieve success, it's because we've been lucky. And we should thank everyone for being so lucky. And we definitely shouldn't claim credit for it. So that's a lot of that imposter syndrome. We've never been good at going, yep, I did the work. I did well. Thank you very much. Yay for me. There's an example I can think of, and I've been thinking of for a couple of days, about what happens when parents over validate accomplishment,
Mm,
and you end up having these people. And I know a person like this, and I think enough of our friends will listen to know exactly who I'm talking about. Dude is really confident in every single situation. But his competence and his confidence rarely match up, and they're like miles apart on the spectrum.
mm,
And I said to him one day, what happened in your life to give you to be wildly overconfident like this without any apparent reason? And we just used to laugh about it. It was always a bit of a joke because, like, I might be trying to fix my car and he goes, here, let me help you. And I go, oh, have you done this before? He goes, no, I just think I should be able to figure it out. And he had much less knowledge than I did. He was just confident that he could always get the job done. And it was because he was raised in a family that anytime he achieved anything, they really overdid it on the validation.
mm,
And so now he's just got this belief like, yeah, I can do anything I want. And it's almost that dangerous level of confidence, but it works. It really works. As opposed to the lack of confidence that you're complaining about, that I went through my whole career feeling like, that feeling of, somebody's going to come and tap me on the shoulder and say, we got stuff wrong, go home. You shouldn't be here. It's real. And the journey that I went on was about learning how to self-validate and go, all right, well, and then you get this amazing confidence because you're constantly looking back at the trail to see what an interesting trail you've been on, because no one else has walked the trail the way you walked it. And then you get to see all those individual bits, all the stuff that you did, that only you did, that only you were there for. And so you build this massive sense of confidence based on, well, I know how much work I've done. I know how much work I did on my bad days. I know how much work I did on my good days. And so that's where we can start to draw that confidence from, especially when we feel like an imposter. Because no one else has seen your hard work. That's you. Your coach has seen a lot of it. Your friends have seen a bit of it. But only you get to see all the hard work.
Yeah. No, I was going to ask you if you feel like imposter syndrome, if that needs to be valid, like if you can overcome that with just self-validation, because that's something I've been working on. And I've probably been actively working on it for about 2 years now. Since I started seeing a sports psychologist. And I feel like sometimes it works, but sometimes I feel like such a fake when I say those positive things that and I don't believe them. And for a long time when I first started, I was trying to say all those positive things, or try and find the positives in my session to I guess give myself that validation. And I'd say it, but I didn't mean it, or it didn't
you didn't believe it.
Yeah.
It wasn't, or it didn't fit your values.
Possibly. Yeah.
Or it didn't, yeah. They're normally the ones where we get, if it's not important, you go, who cares? I don't care. I don't believe it. If it doesn't align with your strengths as well, then it's really hard to validate yourself.
Yeah. And it's those times when you've had a really shit session and you're just trying to find a positive. So you just literally find anything that is positive about the symptom.
Yeah.
And that's often the things that you don't really care about. Well, my back downs felt good. And it's like, well, I don't care about my back downs. I'm competing in, 5 weeks. I need my top set to feel good. So yeah, that does make sense.
Yep. So that's that whole thing of, I need my top set to feel good. That's a story we tell ourselves. That's just a story. It's nice. And it's because it's really, I felt like that woman from Community just said, that's nice. So it is really nice when the top set feels good and training's working. The advantage of being in the game for a really long time is that you have a few competitions where nothing felt good and it was okay. It didn't equate to a negative performance. But at the moment, you've only got the examples of feeling bad in training and then having a bad meet. And it seems like the two go together. With enough time under the iron, you end up realizing, I can have really shitty workouts on great days, and I can have shitty workouts on bad days, and the opposite. In fact, some of your best workouts you'll ever have, and you'll hit PRs on days where you're about to get the flu, you haven't slept properly, and you missed lunch, and then you go in and you somehow deadlift a massive PR. It's just because on that day you had a lot of adrenaline. Those how we feel and beliefs about how we feel, and especially the stories that we attach to it, are almost always a lie. They're not true. They're made up. So going back to your example, because I think it's a good one of, when you just have a really, really shitty workout, I think most people they don't have to search hard to remember one like that. We just go, I don't think anything went well. Nothing was a 10. So I should put on there, I grade everything I do on a scale of 1 to 10. And I'm always looking for an 8 or above. And trying to get there, no matter what I'm working on. And there's some days where just going, man, I just felt like I failed at everything I tried today. And then on those days, you have permission to not find a positive, to not dress it up. You have permission to just go, you know what? That was bad. That was real bad. Didn't die. I guess that's a positive.
Yeah.
And then actually, this is one I pulled from one of the stories about me is I survived and recovered from 5 strokes and heart failure twice. And so a lot of my training felt like what you're describing now. It just feels horrible, and nothing went well, and nothing was even close to what it used to feel like. And so my daughter and I developed this mantra of, well, it's more than zero.
Mm.
So if you've got a really long way to walk, and you walk 100 meters, you go, well, that's 100 meters less. You go, yeah, but I've got 100 Ks left. You go, well, you've done 100 meters. That's enough. That's something. So I think having that permission to write it off as exactly what it is, that was a shit workout. I feel bad about myself. I'm having thoughts of going, I must be the world's worst person, and go, it's all right. People have felt like this forever.
Yeah, I actually think that's really powerful, and that's something that sounds really obvious when you say it, but no one's actually said it to me before. And I was trying to find that positive in every session, and like sometimes my positive was like, well, I showed up. And it kind of
Yes!
almost like took
If you
away.
show up enough, you get good at stuff. That's the win.
But like I feel like that kind of took away from when I had a positive. Like it made the whole process of, finding that positive, if it made it feel less meaningful. Sometimes it's better to just say, well, I was here, it wasn't a great session, but let's hope for a better day next time.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
I have days all the time, like with obviously having had a stroke, living with a brain injury. I have so many days where I just go, you know what? Let's try again tomorrow. Let's just try again tomorrow. And sometimes that would be, I drove to the gym, sat in the car park for 5 minutes, drove home, and just going, you know what? I'll try again tomorrow, because the strength journey is so long that I know I've got time. And even though it always feels like we don't have enough time, that we've got a comp in 5 weeks, or we've got this thing next week, or we've got an important training session today, I don't have time. We go, there's time. And I know at my age, it's really easy to say that. And it doesn't feel that way when I think you're an open lifter, when you're in your 20s and 30s. It doesn't feel like there's enough time. I know guys the age I am now would tell me that when I was 30, and I just didn't believe them. So I'm just going to leave it out there. There's always time. And whether people believe it or not, or whether you can accept it, that's your journey.
No, I like that.
I do also like the one of when I made it to the gym and I got a really cool car park. I've heard people tell me that one before, or
that was your positive.
That was their positive for the day. What did you do? So we always go, what went well? 3 things. What went well, and the third one we crafted out into a journaling activity. So let's just find 3 things. What are the first 3 things that you can think of that went well at the gym today? And one of the responses was, my reverse parking skills were on point. I'm like, hey, way to go, positive. What else went well?
That could never be me, but good for them.
And they go, what went well after that? And go, very little after that. That was the high point.
All downhill from there.
I put my weights away really well. I packed up the bars, It's allowed, the what went well is allowed to be really minor and almost inconsequential, and make it funny, because it is funny. I think, but it's type 2 funny, isn't it? It's funny eventually.
Yes, it takes time for it to be funny. At the time, it's not funny, and when other people laugh at it, it's like, that's not okay. It's not funny.
You just go, stop. Feels like you're laughing at me right now. We should fight. Yeah. Okay. So let's go back to the spiral. I'm really interested to get your take on how you envision that spiral of that looping that we kind of do around a goal.
What do you mean, like how it looks for me?
Yeah, how does it look inside your head?
In my head, like I said, it becomes very apparent that there's 2 different versions of myself.
Mm-hmm.
There's this logical thought that's in the back of my head telling me it's okay, it's just a bad session, it's not that bad, it's not the end of the world. And then there's like the part of my brain that tends to take over those rational thoughts that's like, what do you mean? This is like the worst thing that could ever happen to anyone. And it's like the most dramatic, like, you know, just unhinged thoughts that just overpower these rational thoughts in my brain. And like,
See,
it makes me.
I think the unhinged ones are the fun ones to play with. They're the fun thoughts to entertain. Well, it could be. Like, and ask yourself, well, what happened? What would happen if this is it? What would you do?
I don't know.
Would you come back tomorrow and go, oh, I'm going to fix it?
Probably, yeah.
So that's what we call fear setting rather than goal setting. You go, well, okay, I'm scared of something. Might as well find out what. And like define the fear really clearly. Like I have had a bad workout. It does feel like life is ending, or life as we know it up until now is about to go. I'm about to lose my identity. It feels like that. And that's okay to feel that way. You go, well, what are you scared of? Because that's what the feeling is coming from, is we're scared of something. And trying to get our attention to go, okay, what am I scared of? For me, quite often it'd be, well, I'm scared people might think I'm normal. So, we can't have people thinking that, but it's some version of that.
Yeah.
And I heard this quote once that all fear is an irrational fear of death. Right? I'll see if I can extend it out a bit from powerlifting. So if I had let's imagine I had a bad bench press workout, and we have to imagine that because I don't think there ever was one. I was brilliant. Not true. There's plenty. So if I had a bad bench workout, it would feel like I would get anxious. I'd get worried. I go, okay, maybe this means that I'm not going to get the result I wanted at the next comp. Maybe I'm going to go in underprepared and go, well, what would happen if I went in underprepared? And go, well, I've done that before. Nothing bad happened. I go, well, what would happen if I bombed or just didn't make a lift? Oh, that's happened before. People bought me beer. No one changed their opinion of me, but in my head, people go, well, people would change my opinion of me. They wouldn't want to spend as much time with me. I would then grow old, lonely, and die by myself because I've been cut off from the tribe. And when you say that out loud, you hear how stupid
silly.
That is so silly. Like, you are not going to die of starvation and loneliness because you didn't bench press well tonight.
Yeah.
But it feels real in here.
It does. It does. And like, you have that awareness in the back of your head that, like, you know, processes the fact that you're ridiculous. But it doesn't stop those thoughts or those feelings from feeling very real.
So my next question then, if a friend spoke to you like that, would you try and console them, or would you just laugh at them? Because I know what I would do.
Depends how like close I am with that friend. If it was a close friend, I'd probably laugh at them.
Same.
And
every time
probably run away because I know that they would like probably not respond well to that, because I wouldn't. But yeah.
So one of my big turning points was learning to laugh at myself when I thought that way. Was just going, you know what? That is unhinged. That's crazy. That's and entertain. Like, actually keep the thought there for a little bit and play around with it, like a cat will play with a balloon or something. You know, like, just, what is this thing? Why is this even in my head? And have a bit of fun and go, yeah, no, that's dumb. I can have dumb thoughts, and then that kind of unhooks the thought or the belief or whatever from turning into action or having to do something about it, where you can just go, oh wow, I have weird thoughts all the time. That's just one of them.
Yeah. No, I actually do something similar. Like, if when you just have those days and you wake up and you're just cranky, like everything that everyone does just pisses you off, and you're not having a bar of it.
Well, that's because the world conspired to do things wrong for a day and they need to behave themselves.
But something that me and my partner have started doing is, like, when we feel that way and it's like everything's shit, is we'll say, I'm in a bad mood. and like we'll shout that really loudly. And I don't know, just owning that feeling and just like saying it out loud just is really freeing.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, maybe just saying like, this is a shit session, I feel like crap. Like, just saying it sometimes just, I guess, takes the burden off. Like, I think because you have that rational part of your brain that knows, like, okay, these are silly thoughts, I shouldn't say them. Like, then you kind of bottle it up, and sometimes you just need to say it, get it out there, own it, deal with it, and move on.
You know, have you seen that people use this all the time on Instagram for the last 6 months? Is that woman saying, say the weird thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Just say the weird thing. Just
Yeah.
if it sound, just say it. Just go, yeah, that was weird. Okay, move on.
Yeah.
It just doesn't have, you know, we give these things so much control over what our next thoughts and emotions are going to be and what our next lot of actions are going to be, when some of these thoughts just don't deserve that kind of responsibility or credit. Like, we can just laugh at them.
Yeah.
There was some thought popped in my head about anger. This was a fun one. We have a guy here at the University of Western Australia who's like an expert in the hypothalamus. The hypothalamus is part of the brain that one of its major responsibilities is just monitoring your energy budget. Like, always making these predictions of going, how much energy do you have on board? How much you're going to need to achieve everything. And we learned through his research that the neurons that encode for hunger are not just situated next to the neurons in the hypothalamus that encode for anger. 9 times out of 10, it's the same neuron firing.
Yeah.
They are the same thing. So quite often when you go, it's like if you start treating yourself like a toddler and go, oh, well, I woke up really grumpy. Just go, probably need to eat well today.
Yeah.
That's the signal. That's the action signal to do something differently. You're angry? Yeah. Have some good food today.
Yeah.
What is it? If you're sad, everybody with a toddler knows that sad 3-year-olds are tired. So you put them to bed, have a nap, go sit in the sun, do something like that. And I think in terms of powerlifting emotions, they're the ones that we mostly have, is angry and sad.
Yep.
Or variations thereof. And given what we do, sleep and nutrition are kind of critical. So we can solve most powerlifting problems with powerlifter solutions by making it super, super simple and bring it down to, I either need a nap or a Snickers.
Yep.
Which one can I get in right now?
Both. Have the Snickers, then a nap.
Right. So yeah,
Never overdo it.
Yeah, that Betty White ad had it right. You're not yourself when you're tired, when you're hungry. Just looking at the time there, I figure let's wind it up there. And I'll chuck this onto the internet, and you know, the same 17 people will get a real great kick out of listening to this and meeting somebody new. So thank you for having a chat.
Yeah, thank you.
Tell me about Norway and what are your goals? What do you hope to achieve over there?
Honestly, like, it's my first international meet, and it's actually not something I'd planned. When I put up and shared that I was, going to Bench Worlds, I was a little bit reluctant to post it because I was kind of like, I didn't feel like it was that impressive. But yeah, obviously, yeah, I've worked through that. I'm a bit of a deadlift specialist, so going to Bench Worlds was very unexpected of me. But I had some circumstances that I had to pull out of nationals, and I was really keen to make this year my year to do my first international meet. So this was kind of a way to still tick that off, and I'm really excited for the fact that as much as I love competing in a 3-lift meet, it's scary, and to do that overseas by myself is extra scary. So yeah, I'm just looking to get some experience competing internationally for the first time, in the hopes that then I'll build up the confidence to, try and do a 3-lift international meet next year. And yeah, I think having had this little bit of exposure will, that imposter syndrome might not be as loud, because I've been there before. I've done this. It's actually not that much scarier than just a regular competition. I'm hoping it's the same rules, the same 3 lifts. I'm kind of hoping.
Yeah, what I'm hoping you find is that the really strange and interesting people that you've met through powerlifting so far are the same people that you will meet at Worlds. They just have accents now.
Yeah.
It's really, that was for me. 2010 was my first Worlds. meeting some of my, who actually at the time, meeting Kenta Sandvik. Dude was my idol. There was no better bencher on the planet than Kenta. He was amazing. We got drunk together and I found out that he was a postman. Yeah. It is the most normal thing when you realize these people that are really awesome at stuff, they have day jobs. They're just really, really regular people. And so I'm hoping you get that experience early on and that helps you kind of relax and get into the lifting. My last question for you would be, what do you think would make the whole experience just like perfect? I couldn't get any more out of this than what I've got already if this happened.
If I had fun. If I can actually enjoy the experience of being on an international platform and not stressing so much about, I've looked at the nominations and there's 22 people in my flight and I'm ranked 22nd. So like there's that. But if I can just like disregard all of that, disregard like my previous personal bests and just, enjoy the fact that I'm, on the international platform and, just walk away from the experience having had fun, that would probably be my biggest success.
I love that. It's since my tagline is strong is fun, that kind of seems like a good way to wrap it up, doesn't it? That I think that's critical for whatever we do. If you're not out there having fun, if it's not fun, why are you doing it? Like, why are you spending all this money? And so we spend all this money because it's fun to travel halfway around the world to do something 3 times. And I tell you from experience now, it's not the lifting that will bring you back. It's the everything else.
Yeah.
So let's give a big shout out to the Australian team and about making this even more fun. Not comparing it to last year because that was super fun. Let's make it even more fun than the year, and then every time we go back, we just make it a bit more fun each year.
Sounds good.
Cool. All right.
Thank you.
See you in Norway.
Yeah, see you there.
All right. So that's the recording bit. Now I'll talk properly. Well, it's been a while, so I figured I would start first episode back with an introduction that I've never done before. So welcome to the Baxter Strength Systems podcast. I am Nathan Baxter, strength wizard, powerlifter, whatever other titles you want to add to that. So as always, we've got a fairly free-ranging conversation. This podcast is just about having honest, open conversations about topics that I care about. This particular topic is to do with imposter syndrome. That's how we got started. My friend Rachel is coming with us to Norway in May for the World Bench Press Championships. It's her first time out. This is some of the stuff that I think almost every athlete goes through. I love the conversation we had. I've loved the openness, the raw honesty, and the willingness to try things and explore different topics. So if you've ever dealt with imposter syndrome at any point in your life, or wondering what it is, or how to do something about it, or even if it's just to listen to a really frank, honest conversation, I hope you enjoy this chat that I had with Rachel Elms.